What's up, airplane collectors? Welcome back to another video. It's your host Ray. Today I'll be reviewing the NG model American Airlines Boeing 737-800 with the new American Airlines logo winglets. I'm not even sure what to call this thing. This model is in 1:400 scale, and this was released in February of 2022, if my memory serves correctly. This review will consist of a short discussion of the box and then a discussion of the model and its features. At the end of the video, I'll tell you guys whether or not I recommend the model to other collectors and what I think of the model in general. So let's get this started. So let's talk about the box really quick. The box is relatively small. It's about 13 centimeters long, 13 centimeters tall, and 3.5 centimeters wide. So it's relatively small, but it's good enough for the model that it's holding. I'll show you guys around the box now. So here's the front. Here's the bottom. Right side. Top. Left side. Here's the back side. It features some of the NG model social medias as well as their website. Included in the box is obviously the model and the Collector Rewards Plan card. This is a new program implemented by NG Model at the start of 2022. More information on the Collector Reward Plan program is on the NG Model website, linked in the description below. And here's the model itself. Let's get into specifications first. The model is 9.6 centimeters long, the wingspan is 9 centimeters, and the model is 3.3 centimeters tall. So it's a small model, but it's accurate to 1:400 scale. I'll give you guys a quick 360 of the model, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy this. And apologies in advance if my fingers get in the way of anything you're trying to look at. We'll start up this review at the front of the aircraft. Here you can see the nose details as well as the front portion of the aircraft. No complaints up here. The cockpit windows look okay. The nose shape looks fine. The American title looks a little bit dark, ever so slightly. It might be my eyes messing with me, but I'm no expert in this. So just take that into account and form your own opinion about it. But to me, it looks slightly darker than it should be. I'm not entirely sure. Another thing I noticed is that there's a noticeable crease right here. I'm aware of the fact that this is present on the real 737-800. However, I'm not entirely sure how accurate this particular crease is. It seems just a little bit too extreme to be accurate, but I don't mind it too much. Moving down the aircraft, you can see a lot of printed detail. No complaints about the printed detail. Everything looks good. You can see the two antennas and the Wi-Fi dome. Those are good, but I do have something to say about the main antenna, which I will bring up later. Here's the vertical stabilizer. No complaints about the vertical stabilizer. It actually looks pretty good. I don't notice really any problems with it. I'll show you guys the other side of the aircraft for now. Also, on the right side of the vertical stabilizer, you can see a very tiny bit of red paint kind of spilled into the gray section here. So you might get a little bit of paint issues with this model, but yeah, that should be rare. Here's the right side of the aircraft. Let's talk about the wings for a little bit. The wings on this model look fantastic. There's a decent amount of printed detail on there, as well as molded detail for the air brakes and the flaps. No complaints from that perspective. The bottom of the wings aren't as detailed, but of course there is the molded details, so no complaints from for those. Now let's talk about the winglets, and the winglets are probably the main seller for this model. Recently, American Airlines has been adding this American logo to the winglet. If my camera would focus. They've been adding this logo to the winglets of some of their 737-800s, and I found this pretty interesting. It got mixed reactions, but yeah, this video isn't about that. My main concern was if NG was going to successfully recreate this, and honestly, for the size of the model, they did an outstanding job. Here's what the left winglet looks like. The shape looks fine, and here's what the right winglet looks like. It looks even better, so no complaints from for those. I'm going to try my best to show you what the one on the right looks like. You're just going to have to take my word for the fact that it looks okay. You can see the logo just barely spills off. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, because I do know that these kind of do get misaligned. But yeah, they look good. Unfortunately, we have our first issue on the left one. Here you guys can see there's a little bit of a paint scratch on the red part here, so this one didn't come out as good. Let's move to the rear of the aircraft. Here you guys can see the vertical and horizontal stabilizers again. Everything looks good back here. There's not really any printed detail, so they're not as detailed, but it's really not that big of a problem. The APU looks pretty good. I'll show you guys the APU. You can see it looks nice. The engines on this model are pretty nice, actually. I'm surprised at the quality of these. They look pretty good. The overall shape of the engines is good. Printed detail looks fine. The exhausts are good as always. And the fan blades and the details for the fans and stuff also look really nice. Here's the bottom of the engines if you guys were curious. Now moving on to external features. The external features on this model are the antennas and a singular Wi-Fi dome. The antennas on this model were pretty good except for this main one up here. This one was unfortunately loose.
That right there is emotional damage.
And I could spin it freely. However, it wasn't really damaged, so I had the opportunity to glue it back into place, and it's sitting there just fine. So that really was the only big quality control issue, and of course the winglet here. Those were the only two quality control issues I've had with this model. However, I'd like to make a note right now that other collectors have unfortunately received their models broken or with different quality control issues with like the paint job or just the models being broken, so take that into account. The other antennas look okay. There's two up here. There's the Wi-Fi dome, which looks good, and on the bottom of the aircraft, there's the three antennas in their usual spot. 1, 2, and 3. Just be careful when handling the model so you don't poke yourself with those. And right from here, I'm not even going to bother pausing the video. Let's move to the bottom of the aircraft. Very detailed down here, no complaints. Okay, so it appears as though we have a stain. Oh wait, no, that's not a stain. I thought this printed detail right here was the stain. No complaints down here, everything looks good. Wow, NG has been improving their quality, well, kind of. On this model, if my camera would focus, Jesus. Here's the nose wheel, or I'll try my best to show you. There it is. The nose wheel on this model looks pretty good. The wheel rolls fine, and they're not as fat as usual or spaced apart as usual, so that's good. The main landing gear are also nice. They roll, they're not loose, like the wheels aren't loose and falling off, so no complaints on those. The landing gear have also been a site of discussion among the model collecting community, as some collectors have noticed that the nose gear on these particular models has been rather, I guess, bad in terms of quality control, like the wheels might be spread out or just completely broken. So again, these models don't have the best quality control. Here's a frontal view of the aircraft. Here you can observe the wing flex for both sets of wings. Wing flex looks more than okay, and the cockpit window printing is aligned, so no complaints on those. And that concludes our review. Now time for my personal opinion and my recommendation. Honestly, this model is pretty good, this model in particular, but based on what else I've seen, these models don't have the best quality control, so if you want to buy one, again, like some Gemini Jet, or like pretty much every Gemini Jet's model, it's a gamble. You might get a good model, you might get one that's pretty messed up, so if you want to, you can take the risk. I recommend it because this model is still pretty high quality, even if it is broken and depending on how damaged it is. So yes, I do recommend the model to other collectors. Try and get it if you can. These are selling like hotcakes, so yeah, get one as soon as possible. Well, that concludes the review. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those down below in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more airplane and siren content. If you have any comments or concerns, also feel free to drop those down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.